You click this video because you think you want to be on the right side of the screen. You think money is the cure. But I'm going to tell you the truth that finance gurus are too scared to admit. Poverty is the only time you are actually real. See, right now at 0 to 100K, you are playing the game on hardcore difficulty. The physics are real, the consequences are fatal, you feel everything. But as we climb this ladder from 100K to 10 million, I'm not just going to show you how your life upgrades. I'm going to show you how your humanity degrades. We are going to watch your brain rot in real time. Welcome to Stage 1, the survival horror. At this level, you don't live in America. You live in a math problem designed by a sadist. Your brain runs a background software I call the cortisol calculus. Every action has a price tag attached to it. You don't just drive to work. You calculate the depreciation of your tires per mile against your hourly wage. You know the exact sound a credit card chip makes when it declines. That silence before the cashier says it didn't go through is the loudest sound in the known universe. You aren't living in the moment. You are living in the pending transaction folder. Sleep isn't rest. Sleep is just a free trial of death that you have to interrupt to go to a job you hate. You exist in a state of high-functioning panic. You are one medical emergency, one car breakdown, or one bad vibe check from your boss away from total collapse. This constant terror has a side effect: hyperrealism. Your coffee tastes better because you know you shouldn't have bought it. That $7 latte isn't a drink, it's an act of rebellion against your own bank account. Problem solving at level 1 is based on delusional object permanence. If you turn the radio up loud enough, the sound of your transmission failing doesn't exist. If you don't open the letter from the IRS, you don't owe them money. You treat your body like a rental car you got without insurance. Toothache, ignore it until it becomes a face ache. Back pain, that's just your default texture setting. Now you are running on caffeine spite and the vague hope that the simulation will crash before rent is due. And yet this is the only level where you still have hope. You scroll Zillow, looking at mansions you will never buy, treating it like fantasy literature. You believe that one day it will get better. That hope is the only thing keeping your serotonin receptors from striking, but then the glitch happens. You hit that first 100K net worth. The survival alarm finally turns off, the noise stops. You take your first deep breath in 10 years. You think, I made it, I'm free, I'm gonna be happy now. You are an idiot, you haven't escaped the trap. You just walked into a much smaller cage because now that you don't have to fight for survival, you have to fight your own ego. Welcome to level 2, the optimized robot. At this stage, you have escaped the poverty trap, but you have walked straight into the midwit trap. You have enough money to be comfortable, which means your brain needs to invent new problems to stay entertained. You stop viewing life as an experience and start viewing it as a project management dashboard. You don't have hobbies anymore, you have side hustles, you don't have friends, you have a network, you don't go to sleep, you initiate a recovery protocol based on your Aura Ring data, you become obsessed with data, you track your steps, your macros, your screen time, and your net worth. If you have probably leave your Apple Watch on just to see if it counted as cardio. Spoiler, it didn't. It counted as a brief stretching warm-up. This is the era of the protocol. You start drinking a sludge that looks like Shrek's bathwater because a podcast host named Andrew told you it optimizes your mitochondrial density. It tastes like wet dirt and regret, but you drink it because you are terrified of being average. You start taking cold showers, not because you don't have hot water. That was level 1, but because you need to shock your system. You are paying a premium to simulate the suffering you worked so hard to escape. It's masochism with better branding. You even try to optimize your emotions. You go to therapy not to heal but to debug your code. You want to fix your commitment issues solely because they are creating inefficiencies in your dating funnel. You treat dating apps like LinkedIn for genitals. You're looking for a co-founder for your domestic life, preferably someone with good genetics and low overhead costs. Then comes the spending shift. In level 1, you bought things for survival. In level 2, you buy things for the aesthetic. You spend $4,000 on a chair that was designed by a Danish guy who hates human spines. It hurts to sit in, but it looks great in the background of your Zoom calls. You start wearing clothes that have no logos but cost more than a Honda Civic. This is called quiet luxury. It's a secret code to tell other rich people I have money, but I'm not tacky like those crypto guys. You are absolutely tacky, just in beige. But as your bank account crosses the $1 million mark, the optimization phase starts to glitch. You realize you've won the rat race, but you're still a rat. You optimized everything, your health, your time, your money, but you forgot to optimize for happiness. And then a darker thought creeps in. You look down at the people stuck in traffic, the people worrying about rent, and you don't feel empathy anymore. You feel disgust. You think, why don't they just work harder? Why are they so slow? Congratulations, you haven't just lost your financial anxiety, you've lost your humanity. Welcome to level 3, the main character delusion. At this net worth, you realize a fundamental truth about the simulation laws are just suggestions with a price tag. A parking ticket isn't a punishment, it's the cost of VIP parking. A speeding ticket isn't a warning. It's a subscription fee for driving fast. You stop checking prices completely. You swipe your card with the indifference of a god, striking down a mortal. $500 dinner, $5,000 suit. It doesn't register emotionally. Your bank account has become so large that it has achieved sentience and protects you from consequences. This is where the brain rot gets severe. You develop solipsism. You genuinely start believing that other people are not real. They are non-playable characters generated by the server to facilitate your story. The Uber driver, the barista, the flight attendant, they don't have dreams or families. They simply spawn when you enter the room and despawn when you leave. You lose the ability to have small talk because you cannot comprehend why an NPC is telling you about their weekend. You just want to press the skip dialogue button. Since normal luxury is accessible to the level 2 peasants, you have to pivot to signaling. You start buying things specifically because they are ugly and useless. You buy a hoodie that looks like it was chewed by a homeless dog, but it says Balenciaga, so it costs $1,800. You buy modern art that looks like a toddler had a nosebleed on a canvas. Why? Because buying beautiful things is easy. Buying trash proves you have so much money that you can mock the concept of value itself. It's not art, it's a tax write-off that hangs on your wall. But with the God complex comes the paranoia. You can no longer have genuine relationships. When an old friend calls you, you don't think, oh, he misses me. You think, what does he want? You assume everyone is trying to extract resources from your inventory. So you isolate yourself. You surround yourself with people who are on your payroll. Your chef, your trainer, your assistant, they laugh at your jokes. Not because you're funny, but because their rent depends on your ego. You are trapped in a feedback loop of your own greatness. You haven't heard the word. No in 3 years. You have won. You have the cars, the house, the status. You are the main character. But here's the problem with playing a video game on God mode. It gets boring. There is no challenge. There is no risk. And without risk, there is no dopamine. You look at the horizon and realize the scariest truth of all. Buying the dream was fun living. The dream is just waiting to die in comfort. The simulation is starting to crash. Welcome to level 4, the developer console. At this point, the concept of money ceases to exist. You have unlocked sandbox mode. You can go anywhere, Tuesday in Tokyo, Wednesday in Antarctica. It doesn't matter. Time and geography are just optional settings in your menu. But here's the final glitch of the human brain. Desire requires friction. When you can have anything instantly, you want nothing. The dopamine receptors in your brain have been fried. You are like a rat that has pressed the sugar button so many times that the button is broken. This is why billionaires get weird. They aren't eccentric, they are just bored. You start building bunkers for an apocalypse that isn't happening. You start swapping blood with teenagers to live forever. You start trying to colonize Mars. Not because Earth is bad, but because Earth is finished content. You've already 100% completed this map. You need a new server, and then in the silence of your $20 million mansion, it hits you. The pizza paradox. You realize that the $10 pepperoni pizza you split with your broke friends on a dirty carpet in college tasted better than the $5,000 steak you are eating alone tonight. Why? Because back then, the pizza was a reward. It was relief, it was hope. Now the steak is just protein. You spent your entire life trying to delete the struggle, only to realize that the struggle was the only thing making the game fun. You didn't want the destination. You wanted the climb, but you can't go back. You can't unknow luxury. You can't undownload the DLC. You are a god in a universe of your own making. And it is terribly, terribly quiet up here. So why did I show you all this? To discourage you? No, you're still going to chase the money. The simulation demands it, but just remember, when you finally win, when you finally beat the game, don't expect a prize ceremony, expect a mirror, and trust me, that mirror is the most expensive thing you will ever buy. Anyway, I need to go optimize my serotonin levels and stare at a wall for 4 hours. If this simulation glitched correctly you click the subscribe button, it doesn't fill the void inside you, but it gives me a tiny hit of validation, and honestly, that's all we're both here for. See you in the next patch.